Hello, everybody. Welcome to the interesting modeling company, JMQs, because on my own tonight, Drew is working and Spencer is demolishing his house by the looks of things. No, he's remodeling his workshop, something I should be doing, but the circumstances at the moment say I can't do that, but hey-ho, we will get around to doing it at some stage. So tonight, we're just going to do some questions, throw some questions at me. I'm also going to talk about the couple of the projects I'm working on, and also a classic book that I have in front of me on the workbench here. So we'll just have a quick rundown, say hello to everybody who's tuned in. So hello, Jim Altegott, Andy King, Paul Milligan, Douglas Hunter, Lee Suter, David Swindle, Mark Ryan, Mike Williams, Dougal McWoogle, Ian Goldstraw, Michael Hooverling. Sorry, Michael, always get your name wrong. David Ross, Simon Parkinson, Juan Francisco Molanido. Now, Nick Brown, just scribbling through. Right, okay. Trying to think what the question was. There it is. Jim Altegott, good question to kick off with. He says, question, what was the first model you built on your own? That's a good one. I'm going to be terribly unoriginal, Jim. Terribly unoriginal, and say it was an Airfix Spitfire Mark 9 in a poly bag. Wish I could be a bit more, bit more kind of original, or no, it was an Airfix Spitfire. That was it. I mean, there was a whole slew of models that I built at the time. Blimey, Airfix Spitfire, Hurricane 4, no, not Hurricane 4, Mustang, the original P-51 Mustang. Loads, absolutely loads. Then Matchbox turned up and my head was turned. Frog P-40, which was the P-40 Tomahawk, which was in a boxing done by Humbrol, which leads to an interesting story about I was absolutely fascinated with the Chinese nationalist markings in that. And there was the incident at my primary school where I went to do a talk about it, and the teacher said that you can't talk about toys. And I said, it's not a toy, it's a scale model. And that set the pattern for me being argumentative for the rest of my life. And and it was that Frog P40. I always remember the packaging, and it said Rovex, Margate, England. And then some 40 odd years later, there I was doing ANV AVG P40s for the Airfix kit, which was being produced at the same factory in Margate where Frog were based. So weird how these things kind of go around in circles. Anyway, so Airfix Spitfire. I know that's not very original, but what can you do? David Ross says, he says his was the Matchbox Auto Union. Never built any of the Matchbox cars, actually. Which I do have to actually kind of do something about that at some stage. Hello, Matt Whiting. Hello, Stan Codling, Paul Sykes. Everybody likes the t-shirt. Well, I've got a whole load of these in the wardrobe. So right, let's crack on with. We'll talk about the book I have on my workbench here today, because it does allude to the project I'm working on. And he said, trying to change cameras yet again. Oh, God, here we go. Oh, hang about. Bear with. We seem to have technical problems here. There we go. That's more like it. Yep. This is an original copy of the Roy Cross and Gerald Scarborough Airfix guide. The very first one they did to tie in with the big Spitfire. And Yeah, I've got all these books now, and I treasure every single one of them. But this is absolutely fabulous stuff. I mean, I think these days we're slightly spoiled for reference material, but as a teenager, this book, when I found it in the library, was just absolutely, solid gold. It really was. And we'll just kind of like flick through it here. There's a background history on the Schneider Trophy aircraft and Mitchell and the evolution of the Spitfire. Then we kind of go through to the things like the F730, which I think is a fabulous looking aeroplane. And then through to K5054, and it just kind of goes on and on. Turn 2 pages there. And it just segues on to the very first Spitfire Mark 1s. And isn't that such a beautiful scheme, really? And yeah, there we go. So we're just kind of like, blah, 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 blah. Then it covers the Spitfire 5. There's some rather nice photographs here. In fact, a rather nice photograph there showing some nice paint chipping around the gun access hatches, actually. And some stuff on canopies, the Mark 5 trop, just general stuff, Spitfire, American Spitfires there, nice Aussie one there. And yeah, and it just kind of like skims through that seaplane, float plane rather. And yeah, then we get to the modelling contingent. And this is where Gerald Scarborough really does, he does some amazing things. I mean, he's had to build kind of like about 3 or 4 of these models for this book, but they're just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And there's stuff on how to detail the cockpit and the engine bays. There's some nice pictures there, drawings of the throttle quadrant and the oxygen regulator. Yeah, I love these books, and they're just tremendous reference at the end of the day. And he also all hand painted as well. That's the other interesting thing. Converts it into a Mark V, which is rather ironic because 30 odd years later, what did Airfix do? They converted their Mark I into a Mark V. That's rather interesting down there. If you can see that, he's showing you how to modify the spinner into the slightly more pointed version, and he's done that with kind of like bolting something at the top there, and then using strips of plastic and then filling in between. That's interesting. And molding cowlings and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's just a really, really first-class book. Does a Seafire Mark II-C as well. So, yeah, I'd say if you're building the 24 scale Airfix kit, things like this, book like this, is absolutely worthwhile. It really is. It's just a constant source of inspiration, really. And I would not part with this book for love nor money. Well, £1 million, obviously, but yeah, and it's Patrick Stevens Limited, produced in association with Airfix. I'd love PSL to actually do like a bound volume of all these books, all the Airfix kind of super kit books. Just do them as one compendium, but whether there's a market out there for them these days, I don't know. But that is utterly fabulous artwork by Roy Cross. It really is. But anyway, that's the book. We'll start talking about the kit now, because just catching up with the comments here. Stan Codling says that his first kit was the Airfix Oster Antarctic. Great play value, skis, wheels, or floats. Well, that was actually Matt Irvin's first model as well. Molded in bright yellow plastic, I seem to remember Matt telling me. Paul Milligan says, yeah, the books, I bought most of them. Airfix should re-release those books and add them with the new super kits. Yeah, I think the thing is, Paul, I don't think Airfix actually own the rights to the books. They all sit with Patrick Stevens Limited, but whether they've still got the the material to do them. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to see them reissued as well, to be honest with you, or in fact, new ones are done. James Tainton says he's got the 109 and the P51 Mustang. I've got the Lancaster one as well, but that was 72nd scale, which is was kind of different, slightly different scale. I got the Lancaster and the Mosquito, but I've got all the other ones. Hurricane, Spitfire, P51, Stuka, 109. Did they do a Focke-Wulf 190 book? I thought I went out there. I can't remember if they did one or not. The Stuka book is remarkable because he kind of builds a kind of like a kind of like partially assembled one in the Western Desert or something. There you go. Adam Cooper confirms no 190 book. That's a shame. Right. Well, let's have a look. What have we been up to on the workbench here? We've not done much, but what I'm going to try and do tonight is I'm going to try and actually crack on with a lot more assembly tonight. So I'll be clicking and snipping and gluing stuff here. What I have been spending an evening or so doing was getting rid of all those horrible lumps of masking tape and all that sticky residue that was left behind, and it was not a fun job, I can tell you. But I've managed to get rid of most of it now, and you can still see, I don't know if you can see, but there's still kind of like ghost discoloration on this. But I did manage to get the engine block together, which wasn't too difficult. It just needed a little bit of fettling and finessing. So we've got that kind of like done, really. But what we're going to do tonight is we are going to crack on with a whole load of the smaller sub-assemblies and what I call the annoying bits. Stuff like the exhaust stubs and things. Talking about annoying bits, the one thing I can't find, and it's in my Spitfire references in the office somewhere, is I've actually got the original Mark 1 instruction sheet, but I don't know in which particular Spitfire folder it's currently sitting. I should have a really good dig out, but I've got this is the Mark 5 instruction sheets from, when was that, about 2000, 2002. So these will do the job because they're all essentially the same pieces. So we are going to, like I say, we're going to try and crack on tonight and get as many sub-assemblies done as possible. Do a Spencer Pollard and just do lots and lots of bits and pieces. So you got any questions, fire away. I'll try and field them as I'm working away here. I'll just have a quick look. Gordon Sorensen says, I have that Spitfire book on the shelf too, along with a couple of the annuals they used to do. I've got pretty much all the annuals, and they are fun. I almost wish somebody would do that, do that concept again. Do a modelling annual every Christmas. I think that would go down well. Paul Milligan says, I know you're building from the box, Joan, but will you add seat straps? Probably not, Paul. I'll have a think about that. I think that would take it a little bit too beyond what I am aiming to do, which is build it straight from the box. So I don't know. I'll have a think about it. I've got time. Dave Fleming says, is that the same sort of plastic that Tucano was first issued in? Yes, it is, Dave. It's a very nice hard plastic, and it kind of really does capture this recessed surface detail quite nicely. So yeah, it's a nice plastic. We've also done some of the tail planes, but I tell you what we'll do, we'll get the exhausts out of the way before I exhaust everybody's patience. See, that's why the full-time comedians should do the jokes and I shouldn't. Here we go. 1-4. I'm trying to see the pieces here. It's really, really difficult. White plastic with white numbers on is not easy. Here's a question from Jim. Jim says, question, parts molded cleanly, any serious amounts of flash? Well, Jim, bearing in mind this issue I've got here was from 1990, and it may have been produced around about 1989. It's in fairly good nick. I mean, look, you can see there's bits of flash there, and some of the parts are a little bit furry. And by this time, this kit would have been about 20 years old. It came out in 1970, I do believe. So yeah, it would have been around about 1970. So yeah, 1990, about 20 years old, and not that much. I was not that much older than it when it was released, and indeed when I bought this one. So that either makes me feel much older than I want to, or whatnot. But yeah, it's in good this boxing is in reasonably good condition. I can't speak for more recent boxings because obviously, you know, the kit has aged another 30 years since I bought this boxing, and no kits last forever. It's got to be said. But we will get these exhausts put together, and this is Tamiya extra thin in here, which I absolutely love. I know Drew's going through his thing of the Tamiya white cap, which I do use, but I just like how the extra thin quick setting works really. So right, that's one done. That's one down. Mike Reeve says, I guilted myself. Guilted or gilded? No, he guilted himself. Guilted himself into the FX Hurricane 48 scale Hurricane Mark 1 this month. Excellent. Well done. And just seeing what other comments are there here. Alan Cooper says he has the full set, including the non Airfix Lancaster B17 and Mosquito. Yeah, I've got the Mosquito did feature the box art from the 48 scale kit, but the B17, the Lancaster, were more just kind of like, you know, kind of generic books really, and they weren't really tied into the Airfix range. So right, let's get on to 144 and 143. These are really impossible to read here, folks. Let's get in there. Now, the summer of 1990. You know I'm going to go off on a tangent here. The summer of 1990, and I always remember that with great fondness and affection. It was a long, hot summer, but then, you know, all the summers of your youth are always long, hot summers. But I can remember on a Friday evening, I was thumbing through the newspaper to see what was on television that night. Bear in mind, this was still back in an era when in this country we had four terrestrial television stations. Lucky old us. And Channel 4 had it was about 11:30 at night, around about 11:30, 20 to midnight, and they had listed Destroy All Monsters. And I thought, oh, that sounds fun. I thought, it sounds familiar, but that sounds fun. So I tuned in, and it was part of their creature feature season that they were running. A very short 7-film creature feature. But of course, yes, you've guessed it. It was a short film season, kind of centered around Japan's most famous angry dinosaur. And I sat there and I watched it, and I must admit, you know, the first 5-10 minutes, I was sat there kind of giggling at just how bad the dubbing was. Not the fault of the Japanese actors, that's the dubbing studio. And just, you know, just how goofy it was. By the end of the 7-film season that they ran, and the 7-film season that they ran in the summer of 1990, you're wondering where this story goes, but this is what it's all about. That 7-film season in 1990, which was Destroy All Monsters, Invasion of Astro Monster, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Ebra, Horror of the Deep, and Son of Godzilla, and then they finally ended it with The Terror of Mechagodzilla. By then, I was absolutely hooked. I was just like, I need to see more of these films, and I was absolutely gutted that I didn't record the ones that were on television at the time. So eventually, 2 years later, they were all released on video, folks, VHS video cassettes, and I've still got them. And then over the years, I kind of like pieced them together from video cassettes, then DVDs and Blu-rays and whatever. But yeah, that was, and that kind of goes back to the fact that some kind of like 15 years previously of being bought the Aurora glow-in-the-dark Godzilla by my grandparents and just being frightened witless by it. And yeah, it's just like my childhood kind of came back to me that summer of 1990, and it started a whole new thing for me. It just became a massive fan of those films. Obviously culminating in 2004 with the fact that I went to the cinema to see the Gareth Edwards one, and there up on the screen was my artwork for the Airfix Saturn V rocket. So, and of course, in the summer of 1990, Gareth Edwards, a teenage Gareth Edwards, was also watching those films, and yeah, started a whole thing for him. That Rogue One. He's done well, that lad. Anyway, cheers, me dear. I'm just going to reset the camera here because it's a little bit. It's not quite how I want it. So with a bit of luck, this is the problem with these things, is that they don't, you've got to get these set up properly, usually before you actually start doing a show. But right, how's that look? Yeah, that's better. That'll do. Let's play comments. Oh, that's a good idea. David Ross says, go over the race part numbers with a Sharpie, JM. That's a very good idea. And I'm just seeing if I've got a Sharpie here or in my pocket, or I'm just very pleased to see everybody. Let's have a look. That's close enough. It may work. It may not work. Yeah, that's a bit better. Thanks for the suggestion, David. That is, yeah, that's kind of worked. Go with that then. I'm just reading some of the things here. Paul Milligan says, I think the Hurricane is a class above the rest, and in the book he added a full structure including hundreds of individual fasteners. Amazing work. Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of, not the Stuka. It was the Hurricane. He did build a Stuka in the desert, but the Hurricane, yeah, he absolutely did a kind of like an uncovered Hurricane. It's just brilliant modeling by Gerald. And like I say, he's also everything he did was all hand painted. He didn't use an airbrush. And fantastic modeler, Gerald Scarborough. I mean, if you see the Airfix guidebooks he did where he was doing the armor, and it's all kind of like converting the Airfix 76 scale vehicles, and he was doing them as kind of soft skins and different versions of tanks and all that kind of stuff. Gerald's work with plasticard was so precise. It's honestly, it is an art form, the way Gerald Scarborough does work with does scratch building and everything. And in fact, it was Gerald's in his articles where he literally was building stuff, and it was just on hardboard, so you had that kind of grain texture of hardboard. Well, that was it for me. It was like, well, obviously if I'm going to be building models, I need to have a piece of hardboard. And for years, decades, I would do that. I would go down to the DIY shop, go through the offcuts box, get myself a nice piece of hardboard, use that until it became too grotty, and then kind of like pick up another piece. I'm sure I've got one in here somewhere. Pick up another piece, and yeah, I mean, obviously I've now, for photographic reasons, I've evolved to cutting mats, but I still, I still like a bit of hardboard. I think it's I think it's a perfectly fine and legitimate modelling surface. And people who say about, well, how the cost of modelling these days, and they talk about the cost of cutting mats and all that kind of stuff. And I say, just get yourself a piece of hardboard. That's all you need. Just need a surface to protect your underlying surface from knives and things. So, right, I'm just giving the MacBook a quick clean here, and right, let's we've got one set of exhaust done. Let's crack on and get these other exhausts done, and then we'll carry on the chat, and we'll try and field some more of your questions as we're going. Come on. My Despine nippers are a little bit long in the tooth now, and I desperately need a brand new set. So that will be something I'll be looking to sort out at some stage in the future. What I'm not going to do at this particular junction is I'm not going to clean these. I am actually. I've just realised they are. I was just going to say they're not interfering with the fit, and then as soon as I thought that, I suddenly realised they are interfering with the fit. So we are going to get rid of them. So that's better. And you might have noticed that I was just giving the mating surfaces a quick kind of paring down with my beautiful Infamy, they've all got it Infamy sanding stick. I'm still using the 400 that I bought last year. These are bomb proof. These are absolutely amazing. They don't fall apart. I think this one's had a little dink in it just there, just where my thumb is. But they don't disintegrate like, here's an example. They don't disintegrate like these kinds do. So I would say if you're in the market to get some sanding sponges, and these are sponges, not sticks, but sanding sponges, I would go for the Infamy ones. They are absolutely magnificent. I got those from Premium Hobbies, who are based just down the road in Weston-super-Mare. And when I say I got them from Premium Hobbies, I mean I went out and bought them. There's no freebies here. I went out and bought them. If I'm always happy to support the local model shop. So yeah, go to. I'm just seeing if I've got the address up here on the banners. Yeah, let's have a look. Dum 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 dum. Do you know what? We haven't got Premium Hobbies up here on the banners, which is rather unusual. So what we'll do is we'll go and grab that in a minute and put it up on the banners so that you can go there for yourselves and have a look. But they've got a lot of good stuff there. Has to be said, don't want to give you all a downer here at the moment, but it's got to be said, there are a number of things I do want to get in terms of tools and odds and ends. But like everybody else in the United Kingdom at the moment, I'm looking at my fuel bill and having kittens and thinking, right, well, we are going to have to make some savings down the line before, until such time as the energy bills come down and until such time as the price of petrol comes down, there is going to have to be a little bit of judicious paring on the spending for modeling and stuff, which, to be honest with you folks, I don't need anything. I just want things. And, I like to try out different kind of tools and things and paints and stuff like that. And back in the oldie days, I could do that because I just had the extra disposable income. Now, there's first world problems here. Obviously, I'm talking about, a hobby when people are struggling to heat their homes. I'm not going to struggle to heat my home, but I am balancing it out with, the costs elsewhere. So I would like to be buying more stuff and testing it here on the show, but until this current kind of pricing thing resolves itself, we're just having to be a little bit more circumspect. But we are still going to be doing, we are still doing stuff and we are still bringing you things. So it's not all doom and gloom, but like I say, it's just it is an indication of the time that, and I hate to make this sound like even I have to pare back my hobby spending, but to be honest with you, even I have to pare back my hobby spending because the outside world is being a bit mean at the moment. And yeah, but anyway, you know, we will survive. We will survive. And it's all, you know, it's all discretionary spending here. So, but by all means, you know, do go out and buy models. Obviously, you know, the retailers will now be sending me messages saying, "Don't tell them that. Don't say don't go out and buy models." So go out and buy models. Obviously, lol. Right, there we go. We've got all the exhaust stacks done, so I'm just going to shove them out of the way. We're going to play catch up with the comments whilst we're doing that. James Tatum says, "Can you do some Michael Caine?" Here we go. No, James, I'm not doing impressions. All right. Dave Fleming says, "Does it have a pilot, and are you sticking him in it?" It does have a pilot, Dave. In fact, hang about. Let me just go and find him. It does have a pilot, although he has appeared to have lost a foot in some kind of horrific flying accident. There he is. There's the pilot. Yeah, he's lost a foot down there for some reason. Am I going to use him? No, because that means I then have to paint a figure. I'm not in the mood for painting figures at the moment. Although I might at some stage assemble him, because to be honest with you, he is an important feature of the kit. If I can find out what's happened to his foot, he is an important feature of the kit, and he would cover up the lack of seat harnesses. So we'll have a think about that, Dave. It's a beautiful sculpt by Ron Cameron, by the way. He's absolute king of sculpts for the Airfix figures. So we'll have a think about that. Possibly, if I can find his right flying boot / foot. Otherwise, I'm afraid he's grounded. And let's see, what else have we got here? Here, yeah, Griffith says, for a lot of people, models are the cheaper hobby to fall back on. Indeed, I have heard that, which is you know, yeah, it's compared to a lot of other hobbies out there, we are still a value for money hobby. Tony Sturridge says, if things get real bad, you will have to forsake cakes. Yeah, that's not going to happen, Tony, really, in the scheme of things. Really, seriously. And Jim Altergott says, understand, JM, I don't need anything for my modeling tools related items like you. I want to try new paints, tools, etc. Yeah, exactly. I'm curious, and when things come out, I just like to kind of you know, try them out. It's like some of the stuff I got from Premium was some interesting kind of like tools and stuff and whatnot. So I just have you know, you know, an insatiable curiosity, an insatiable appetite, as Queen said. Candy King says, another user of come on MacBook, another user of hardboard here for many years. Yep, nothing wrong with hardboard. Paul Milligan says, those little Airfix guidebooks were a treasure trove of information for a young modeler like myself. Yep, I absolutely agree. I think they just utterly brilliant books. Phil Prisk rather says, just finished the 1974 24 scale Harrier. Really went together well. Plenty of scope to add detail. Great fun build. I built two of them 22 years ago, Phil. Yeah, I had to build them straight out of the box without any instructions. So I was looking at the kit parts, trying to work out where things went. Then I was sent a set of instructions. That was interesting. And what else have we got here? We've got just Jim Altergott again says, what do you have more of, guitars or airbrushes? Or definitely airbrushes, Jim. I haven't bought any. It sounds braggy now. I haven't bought any guitars for about 10 years. I still actually, I tell you what, I was looking the other day to think if I do have a bit of a kind of like a purple patch again, how much can I get a Brian May Red Special for? Answer, no, too expensive. And I was looking at a Squire Telecaster. I don't have a Squire Telecaster. I've always fancied one of them. Yeah, okay. And a flying V. I'd love a flying V, but I don't need them. I just, you know, I've got responsibilities these days. I have a cake habit to keep up. So, and Pavel says, Phil Flory stopped production of his standing sticks. What? Say what? I will have to get me some of the Infini ones when I run out of my Flory stick stock. Right. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go premium hobbies. Here we go. Oh, they've got a sale on at the moment. Right. We'll create a banner so that we can always pop a banner up when we start talking about premium hobbies. So there we go. Right. So if you go to premiumhobbies.co.uk. I suddenly was going a bit Michael Caine there for a minute. If you go to premiumhobbies.co.uk, let's just see share screen. Let's go share screen. Chrome tab. There we go. There we go. So premium hobbies. And like I say, they're based up the road in Weston-super-Mare. Well, they've got an offer on splash paints. They've got ammo weathering sets. Goodness me. Oh, I like this. Look at this. Look. A Mr. Hobby airbrush stand and amp tray set. That looks great. 12 quid. That's not bad. See, there's all kinds of tools and stuff and masking tape and oh goodness me, I mean I'm an absolute sucker for this kind of stuff. Mr. Hobby low adhesion masking tape. There's a thing. Some new Mr. Hobby metallic colors. Yeah, like I say, they are absolutely brilliant. And I've ordered some stuff from them, and it's always turned up within literally a couple of days. Let's just go to tools, abrasives and sanders. And here we go. And I think we're looking for the sanding sponges. So the sanding sticks or the sanding sponges. I think they are these ones here. I think they are those ones there. Has a look. Yeah, those are the ones. And yeah, I've got that set, and they are absolutely brilliant. But I'm still using the 400 because it's just an absolutely fabulous go-to kind of grit. It's the 400 is strong enough that it will cut through plastic and kind of sand things down, but it's also fine enough that you're not having to kind of like then refine the surface finish too much because they're not so coarse that they leave massive scratches everywhere. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of the Infini 400s. But yeah, there we go. Pop along there, folks. Premium hobbies. And like I say, they've got all manner of goodies there, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will welcome your trade. And bearing in mind, I do try and share the wealth amongst our local traders we have here in the West Country, because we are absolutely blessed to have some very, very good traders in the area. So obviously we've got Revue Model Centre, which I must pop along to at some stage because I've got to head out that way anyway. So yeah, it'd be a nice trip to Frome and the surrounding area. But yeah, Revue Model Centre, always an absolute pleasure to go there. We got in Bristol, we got Antics in Broadmead, which used to be the old Modeller's Den, but yeah, good old fashioned model shop. That out towards Glastonbury, in the shadow of Glastonbury Tor, we have Jadlam, and yeah, I mean, if I'm not heading towards Frome, if I'm out Glastonbury way, if they're open, I pop into there as well. They've got a very good selection of stuff in there as well. And Drew has recently been talking about the place that he found, which I haven't got it here, but it was a little hobby shop which is opened just outside of Yeovil, that kind of way. I'm sure he'll tell me what it was. Somebody will tell me what it was here. I haven't got it saved as a bookmark. But yeah, we're absolutely rolling in fine model retailers in the southwest here. So They got nothing anywhere else. It's all like, it's like an event horizon of a black hole. They're all being sucked into Somerset. So lucky old us. That's what I say. But yeah, pop along to all of them. Go along and have a look online, and see if there's anything there that tickles your fancy. Brian Wilton says, that's a good question. He says, why are aircraft finished in a flight mode frowned upon, especially in competitions? I don't know. And do you know what, Brian? I think there's actually there's a case to be said that model competitions should have a separate category for aircraft in flight. Encourage people to build more of them. I've done the occasional models where I built them on display stands. I think the last one I did was 2 years ago. It was the Italy Tomcat, and I had to build that for the hobby company. And we just literally stuck it on a bit of wire and had it on a base and whatever. But I liked it because didn't have to paint the undercarriage. Jim Tate says, if you're in the Birmingham area, my go-to is Mike's Model, superb range of kits and accessories. Model Shed, thank you, Anthony Bird. The Model Shed, which I think is just down round about Ilminster. So that should be, I haven't been down there yet. And every time Drew sends photographs there, he sends photographs and has also been somewhere for cake as well. So anyway, Juan Francisco Molinido says, maybe an off-topic question. How do you often use your Fender airbrushes? Are they still good? Any updates regarding issues, spare parts, etc.? Well, Juan, the simple answer to that is yes, I'm still using them. Have there been any issues? No, there haven't. And in fact, I'm still using that kind of base cheap, the base level one that was something like about £24. Still using that. It's still performing, and I will be using it on this model. Have I had any issues with it? None that weren't caused by me not cleaning it out properly. So in fact, they're just pulling what's that? Well, yeah, that's the Fender FE183K. There you go. Look, it's all set up there in the holder for usage. Next to that is that's an Iwata Eclipse. Whoopsie. I knew there it is. That's the one I'm looking for. Next to that is my Fender FE180. So they are still being used. Honestly, I am still waiting for them to let me down. Neither of them have. They are staggeringly well built airbrushes for the price. They're not Iwatas, obviously, but they are phenomenally good. And I'm just seeing some more comments here. Let's just go. Jim Aldcott says, as far as I know, Martin Kovac still uses his Fender airbrushes. He does, because I watched the latest one he did, and you can see his FE183K or whatever it was. And it was Martin who put me onto them. And I thought, well, I'll give them a go. And yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, Mike and Penn Richardson say, we recommend MGR models, Hindley Green near Wigan, and Northeast Model Centre, County Durham. Rob Monfils says, still using mine with no issues. Well, as soon as they do break down, we'll let you know. But still performing, and in fact, this will be performing on this Spitfire. So I was tempted to see if I could paint it with the Badger 200, but I think perhaps I will paint it with the Badger 200. But I feel duty bound to carry on using the Fender, because why not? Like I say, I'm going to carry on using it until it stops working, really. Right, let's get some more bits and pieces glued here. We'll probably let this one run on. We'll let this show run on a bit tonight, because I've been yakking a bit too much, and we need to yes yakety and more buildy. And we've also got an aileron here that really does need cleaning up in terms of getting rid of the horrible masking tape that was stuck on it for 32 years. Exactly. Let's just slap some latex on. Oh, that's good. That's absolutely useless. Just keep some fresh gloves by his work area, so he doesn't get slowed down by a lack of latex gloves. Right, I'll show you this. Let's just clear the workbench a bit for the moment, and let's look at this. This is what I'm talking about. It's, oh, look at that. Oh, it's just horrible. It's 32 years worth of masking tape adhesive on this, and it's just, oh, ugh, gross, really. So we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to get rid of that with some Bob Ross odorless thinners on a micro cloth, and we will just do it like that, and then do it like that, and there you go. All that horrible, sticky, nasty, ugly, repulsive, use other verbs, insert. That's it. It's all done there. All gone. Just can't pick it up now. There we go. That's it. That's all that masking tape gone. So we'll probably just give these a quick clean as well. I think I've already done these ones, but no harm in just a final kind of run over with them. So what we will do is we'll also put together these control surfaces and everything. Yeah, that's close enough. So we'll get these all glued together, and we'll also check some of your... Steve Parker, that's a good question. He says, is there a model shop directory on the web anywhere? I'll throw it one out to you folks. If you know of a model shop directory, post it here, and we'll share it with Steve. But yeah, there probably is. I've just never looked for one because I'm lazy, and I know what I like. So yeah, well, folks, throwing that out to you. Jim says, question, does your method of removing tape residue work on clear parts too? Yes, Jim, but you've got to be very careful because some kind of like thinners and some kinds of clear plastic do not like each other, and they can actually, well, some will actually fog the clear parts. Some will actually craze them and actually make them go all brittle. So for getting rid of adhesive on clear parts, I tend to go back to this, which is lighter fluid. It's that's pretty solid. It does the job, and it tends not to be too aggressive with the clear plastic. So it will work, but like I say, it all depends it all depends on the plastic you're applying it to and how robust that is. Now, I'm just having a look here, and I can immediately see we may have a bit of a problem because I don't know if you can actually, that's showing rather nicely. We've got an ejection pin circle there, but when you look at it from the side, you can see that really stands out quite a bit. I think that is going to be causing problems for us. So, and this is causing problems for me because I can't cut it. So what we're going to do is very carefully cutting away from ourselves. I think this is where a curved blade would be better, but hey ho. He said cutting away from ourselves, then proceeds to cut towards himself. But I think we just need to trim that down a bit. Oops. Slices the horn balance off. No, that's all right. That's a bit better. So let's see how there's that. Oh, wrong bit. Oh. Yeah, we need to trim that down a bit because that is just a bit. It's just interfering with the fit a bit too much, and we also need to get rid of that there. Just trim that off a bit there, and get rid of that there as well. Let's try it now. How's that going? It's all right, but it's not perfect. I'm just going to see if I have, there we go, a curved blade. I'm always very nervous of using these. Well, I'm always very nervous of using knives full stop, but I'm especially nervous of using these blades and these handles because I pretty much sliced the top of my finger off 35 years ago. August 1987, would you believe? And I'm not really in a hurry to repeat that exercise live on the internet, thank you. So we're just going to be very, very careful. I don't know if you can see that on my finger there. You can just see a faint line there, which is where I sliced the top of my finger off. I know. What a clot. Okay, that's a bit better. Still not perfect. I don't like that. That is annoyingly vague, and it is still that thing there which is causing the problem. So I'm just going to very carefully. Actually, we're going to do it this way. Oops, bangs his head on the camera. Right, here we go. It's a good old bit of adzing action here. God, we've suddenly gone frog instruction sheet 1971 here with some adzing action, and we still haven't got rid of it. Good Lord. I mean, come on, folks. When was the last time you had a good adze on a model, eh? Right, that should have done it now. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I actually think what's interfering looks to be a little bit of flash at the top there. I'm just checking. Yeah, actually, I think it's that little bit of plastic up there, actually. So we'll knock that back a little bit and then see what that does. Yeah, close enough for government work. So let's just get the extra thin to do its thing. See, I wish I had this kind of adhesive when I was adhesive, you know what I mean. Wish I had this when I was a kid, because all those kind of like wasted hours of holding tube glue together with clothes pegs and sellotape and God knows what else. Whereas this stuff is just pow. It's almost like super glue. It just welds stuff together instantly. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I can always remember it was my late uncle, my Uncle Roger, and we went round to my, hello mum if you're watching, we went round to my grandparents in their farmhouse in Hurst, and I was building at the time, I had been bought the Airfix MRCA. How exciting. And I was sat out on their picnic tables in the back garden, and my late uncle turned up, and he saw me building this, because he was a modeler as well, and he just came up to me and he went, yeah, geezer, you don't want, I'm trying not to do him as Michael Caine, but I'm going to do him as Michael Caine. He said to me, he goes, hey geezer, you don't want to be using that, you want to be using this. And and he gave me a bottle of Britfix, if you remember that, Humbrol Britfix 76, and yeah, that was a revelation. It suddenly made my modelling so much neater relative to my skills at the time as a kind of 10 or 11-year-old. Also, it's got to be remembered, anybody who remembers those Britfix bottles, was that Humbrol at the time thought it would be a great idea to put liquid cement in the most unstable bottle imaginable. Yeah, it was a bottle that you only had to look at it slightly kind of slightly askance and it would just collapse on you, just fall over. So fond memories of Humbrol Britfix 76 there. But yeah, that was it. I just like, yeah, liquid cement. That's where the future is, folks. And I remember when I was at school, and I think we were doing like a modelling club after school, and I was there, and I was like, yeah, look at this, and what is this wizardry? And yeah, my friends were all kind of, where did you get that? And I'm like, it was, yeah, and yeah, you could then get it. I think Beatties did their own version of it, but for the most part, that original Humbrol Britfix stuff, that was brilliant. I loved it. Just absolutely sensational stuff. There we go. We've got that little bit of clamping at the top there because it was just coming adrift there. But right, let's do some comments. And Stan Collins said, that's my go-to knife. Bought a box of 12 many years ago. I have 3 set up with 3 different blades for more nervous, and 3 different blades, more nervous with scalpel type handles. The thing about scalpel type handles, Stan, is that when it comes to getting the blades out, getting the blades in and getting the blades out, you just use a pair of kind of like pliers, and that's it. Just lift them out, lift them back in. It does help if you lubricate this with a bit of graphite or even, you know, like a little bit of Vaseline or something. But the one thing I never, ever do is try putting these in with my fingers. Yeah, not doing that. But yeah, I've got the metal version of this in my other work, in my mobile toolbox somewhere. And this is the plastic Swan Morton one. In fact, bear with me a second, folks, in the toolbox here, I'm sure, kicking around, if it's not in here, then it's going to be somewhere else. No, it's not in there. In the toolbox, I've still got, oh, here we go. It's in my drawer here. There we go. An Airfix toolkit knife handle, which is essentially, it's a Swan Morton one. It was licensed built for them, and this is indeed this is the knife handle that took the top of my finger off 35 years ago. But I mean, this thing's decrepit. I can't even open it up. But what a great thing that was. Obviously, you know, apart from the accidents, but there we go. Adam Cooper says, my introduction to liquid glue was Gloy liquid polystyrene cement. Same type of glass bottle. Model bench was often awash with liquid glue. Yeah, they were terrible bottles, you know, really. Paul Milligan says, and plastic wood was my first filler. Right, I don't agree. I don't disagree with that. Brian Wilton says, model making should be compulsory at school. I think something should be compulsory in terms of the creative arts. I know woodworking is and metalworking, but I do agree something like this should be taught on the curriculum, because it does teach you important motor skills in being able to kind of translate things into 3 dimensions and stuff. So yeah, I kind of agree with you there. And Hobby Time says, future will give you clarity, but the downside is if you mask over it, sometimes you can get tape residue in the clear coat you can't remove. So I polish most of my canopies now. Yeah, I'm of the same opinion, Hobby Time, is that I don't dip my canopies in future. I'd rather clean them, get them really kind of like nicely polished, then mask them. And if any residue does end up on it, at least I'm cleaning it off of the clear plastic. I'm not cleaning it off of a barrier of something else, which will then just kind of go horrible. I did a few years ago. I built the Airfix Kate, and I can't remember what the masking tape was that I used, but it went wrong, and it just left this enormous amounts of sticky residue. And I was just meticulously, with lighter fluid and a scalpel and a cocktail stick, a sharpened cocktail stick, going in there and just removing it. It did, I got it all off in the end, but had I dipped that canopy in future or something, it would have been horrible. So I'm just having a look. Paul Milligan. Oh, sorry. Mike Williams says in use a Swan Morton Universal scalpel blade remover, so much easier and safer. I'll pop a pick up on your mentions line. Oh, brilliant, Mike. Do that. Yeah, that sounds like something I do need to invest in and kind of like talk about for obvious safety reasons. Paul Milligan says, remember trying to get pin out of your Airfix tube glue. No, I was thinking that the other day that I was going to say to Drew and Spencer that we should have like an Airfix tube glue challenge, I think, or a tube glue challenge. So I'm just moving this light out of the way. There we go. A tube glue challenge. That'll be fun. Wouldn't win me any friends, but there we go. John Patrick Huston says, that's good. Yeah, we get our scouts to build plastic kits for their hobbies merit badge. Brilliant. Absolutely. Here we go. Rob Monfils says, my first week of City and Guilds aerospace engineering curse of the Aerospace Engineering City and Guilds course in East Surrey. I'm reading ghost stories now, Rob. Sorry. Course at East Surrey College. The lecturer got us all to build a model in a week. I went with the Airfix Kitty Hawk. Very good. And Stan says, don't think my 3 sons-in-law took woodwork or metalwork. Not one of them knows which end of a screwdriver to use. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Build a kit using only tube glue would be fun. Would it though? I've sounded like Chris Hemsworth now. Would it really? Yeah, I'm just going to see if I'm just going to look it up online a moment here, folks. It's Mike's suggestion of the universal scalpel blade remover. So bear with me a second. Universal scalpel. There we go. Comes up immediately. It's Swan Morton. Some videos of it actually. Here we go. Okie dokie. Right. There we go. Oh blimey. Why have I not got one of these already? Let's have a look. Here we go. Share screen. I think Mike Williams has just made everybody's day here. Here it is. It is the Swan Morton scalpel blade removal unit. And it is there. And that's not my hand, by the way. That's, not my color. But yeah, apparently you just put that in and that's it. It just, it removes it, and it's £4.88. And frankly, that's going to be a lot better and a lot safer and a lot quicker to use that than trying to do modeling when you've had 23 stitches in your finger and and it's got a heavy cast on it. So Mike, that is absolutely brilliant. What I'm going to do is I'm going onto the timeline right now. And I'm going to post that onto our timeline because that is absolutely first class. I didn't realize that existed, which speaks volumes for the level of my ignorance. So we are going to share that on the page. There we go. What's on your mind, interesting modeling company? God knows. There we go. So we've shared that on the timeline. So brilliant, Mike. Absolutely fabulous. I'm going to order one of these straight after the show. Paul Sykes, first glue I used was Yoo-Hoo. Still gives me shivers thinking about it. Lol. Yeah, I can remember, I think it was my big sister built a model using Yoo-Hoo. And to this day, I cannot stand the smell of Yoo-hoo. It's just, oh, it's just, oh, sorry, Yoo-hoo. But yeah, it's, I'm just going to do here. Yeah, Sticky Fingers Builds is John Patrick Huston's suggestion for us. Tube glue build. You can, Jim Aldercott, you can still find tube glue out there. Yeah, it's a nice idea, but no, to be honest with you, I do not want to go anywhere near tube glue these days. It's a bit like cross-country runs. You know, it's you know, the moment I left school, that was it. I wasn't going to do cross-country runs again. In fact, I didn't even do any when I was at school because I managed to skive out of all of them. But yeah, that's a technical aside. But yeah, I think tube glue. I'm not going that way again. Sorry. I mean, some people do still use tube glue, and you know, their models, their rules. The thing I would say about this is the thing that Drew talks about with the Tamiya extra thick rather, which I've got some here, but I can't see it on the I can't see where it is on the shelf here. But the white cap stuff, there it is. The white cap stuff it's a much thicker kind of glue. It's got kind of heavier polymers in there, and you can literally kind of brush that on. And in fact, I'll demonstrate that right now. We're just going to clean up this aileron elevator. So again, I'm just making sure that the mating surfaces are as good as they can be, and that's fine. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is the Tamiya white cap stuff it's almost like a kind of like a liquid form of tube glue. It's not far from it, but it is absolutely brilliant. And I'm just seeing which side should I put it on. I'll put it on this side. The beauty of this stuff is that you can just brush it on like so, and it will. You can instantly feel the brush start to catch as it starts kind of like melting the plastic. But what I like to do is just kind of like dance it around the surface like this until we get a bit of you know, a bit of grab, and then that's it. Just plop that on the top there. Oops, daisy. Get there in the end. There we go, and that's it. And that's that's a. I'm sorry. Let's get it on the camera. So that's a bit like it's a bit like tube glue. It's just got that kind of slightly slow setting property, but then it kind of like catches in the end. I'm actually going to cheat a bit here and just pop a bit of extra thin quick setting on that join there. But we'll do another one. We'll do another one to demonstrate that. What are we looking at? There's another aileron. And let's just try and find the other one, which is kicking around here somewhere. Goodness me. You'd think I'd be more organised. Which, if anybody has ever met me, knows I'm never more organised. Oh no, I think we're missing a piece, or are we? Bear with me, folks. I'm just looking for our other bit of an aileron, which has gone missing. Never mind, we'll find it. That's probably because it's still here, probably still on the draining board of the kitchen where I was cleaning these bits off the other day. So, hey ho, we'll find that. We'll find that after the show. It's around here somewhere. Lol. Yeah, it's around here. Just hang about. Let's just have a proper look through the box here before I start panicking. Although I actually do have an Airfix Mark V up in the attic, so I'm not going to worry about bits going missing too much. But I get the feeling that this errant piece is still on the draining board. So, let's not worry about it. Don't worry about it. What we will do is we will find some more bits and pieces to glue together here. What more can we glue together this evening? Let's have a look. We're not gluing the pilot together because we're not using him just yet. This is that awkward moment where actually there's a number of things that I do need to kind of like start putting together, but I can't do them until I actually start slapping paint on it. So what can we do? We can't put the guns together. Unfortunately, everything's ground to a halt until I can find that missing piece, but never mind, we'll find it. It's out there somewhere. Just reading one of the comments here that says, I have the Jane Mortegott says, I have the tube. Let's try it again. I have the tube Revue contactor. Use it only occasionally because it comes out stringy, quite messy. I've never. I'm just looking up here. I've got some of those contactor adhesives here and iterations of them. I've never got on with them. I really don't. I'm just reading another comment here. Hobby Time says, thinking about building that Spitfire. I built one as a kid when it first came out. Fancy doing it again with all the skills I have now, but I would be better off getting an early white. But would I be better off getting an early white plastic one? You could do. I mean, there's no denying that the early white ones will be an original one. The tooling will be in kind of like better condition. You know, it's. I think the grey plastic does tend to be a little bit more elastic. This is like a nice hard plastic. So I'd say, yeah, see if you can get hold of a. See if you can get hold of. I could get hold of a white one. If not, yeah, just get hold of the most recent reissue. Will do the trick. And Alan Cooper says the technique for tube glue is not to apply it directly from the tube unless you're gluing something large like wings. Use a toothpick from a decanted blob of glue. Old technique mentioned in all the books, all the good books, all the old books on making models. Indeed, that was the thing. Use a pin or a toothpick. But like I say, the moment I discovered liquid cement, that was an absolute game changer. And Dave says he uses a cheap paintbrush rather than the one in the bottle. Yeah, I've got to say though, I do actually like the brushes that that Tamiya put in their liquid cement. So much so that when the bottles are all empty, I hang on to the little brushes. They're good. And Bill Clark says Revue contactor in the blue bottle with the metal tube is good stuff, and when empty, the tube can also be used as a pitot tube of sorts. Yep. The only thing is I found this with some of the contactor types, and obviously with tube glue, is that it sometimes it will dry, but it will dry to like a crust because that's like the polymer they put in there to kind of bulk it out, and I just don't like that stuff. You know, not a big fan of it. But the white cap, yeah, I love that stuff. Here we go. And Dave Fleming says, is that a tiny clothes peg, or do you have a giant bottle of Tamiya extra thin quick setting? Dave, I'll let you peek behind the curtain here, because these I get in Poundland. One of the few things that's still a pound in Poundland. So if you worry about that this week, but I get these in Poundland. These are absolutely brilliant, and it's you know, it's literally they don't come in this tub. That's a tub from some vegetarian pate. But yeah, these are absolutely fabulous, and where you can see how well used they are by some of the fact that some of them are all different colours and things. yeah, a quid spent on a little thing like that is money well spent, because they're absolutely bomb-proof, and even if they do break, just go and get some more. Really, they're great. I love them. The other thing I get down at Poundland is, bear with, is I get them. No, sorry, this is the Works, but you can get these in Poundland. But I got these in the Works, wooden craft sticks, i.e. lolly sticks. A great big pack of them. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I use these, and when they become too distressed with paint and whatnot and stuff and whatever, they then get transferred into the pile of wood for the chimney, and they get burnt outside. So there we go. Carlos Ruiz says, I remember my old wrist movement to avoid the strings when using tube glue. Yeah, there's a lot of honestly, I like the idea of going back and using tube glue, but then again, the thought of using it just fills me with horror, because it's one of those modeling things that I've kind of yeah, exactly. Ray Borman says, why torture a model with tube glue? Exactly. It's not that I've moved on. I don't want to be kind of dismissive or anything, but I am going to be dismissive. I just wouldn't want to go back to using it ever again. But there, we all started with it. So, and John Patrick Huston says, Ted Taylor taught me to use wooden pegs with the ends cut back at a 45-degree angle to hold small parts. He did. That's in one of his kind of scale models articles. Mike Williams says, Rebel used to make a Contactor special cement, very similar to Tamiya Whitecap. Not seen it for years, probably withdrawn due to some of the ingredients, as it was very pungent. And we also had, I'm sure I saw Christopher Buchholz was on here just now, and I'm just trying to scroll back to find his comment. Sorry, Chris, if I've missed your comment. Even more sorry if I saw a comment and I thought it was you and it wasn't. There was something came up that I wanted to flag and I can't find it. Goodness me, this is the problem. I'm trying to scroll through now, kind of like hundreds and hundreds of comments, and I can't find what that comment was. So Jared Watkins says, I've been won over to despise by their pointed tweezers. Been waiting for this week's Avon show to get the flat-headed pair and the cutters. Cutters are well worth them, Jared. They are really, really good. I'm hoping to be at the Avon show on Sunday, but I'm also mindful of the fact that on the Monday I've got the day off and I'm going for a nice little boat trip down to Sidmouth. So I'm kind of balancing out that, do I want to go to Avon and then suddenly get COVID? I'm hoping to be there, but if I am at Avon, and it's obviously, catching COVID is not the fault of Avon IPMS. If I am at Avon and COVID, I hope not to be at COVID. It's going to be literally like a flying visit. Just kind of pop in, have a look around, pick up a few things. I'm still, to be honest with you folks, I'm still not entirely comfortable being at model shows. In fact, I was at the North Avon model show a couple of weeks ago, held at the Helicopter Museum. Jared and I had a nice cup of tea outside, but I still wasn't comfortable there. I just I just couldn't get my head into it. And I know some people are like, well, we're all going to have to get used to this now, and we're all going to have to kind of like catch it and deal with it. I can't catch COVID. I have a weakened immune system. If I catch COVID, it's problems. So I'm just doing my best to outrun it at the moment. So, but I'll try and have a pop in. I'll try and pop into the Avon show because there are some things I want to pick up. And if I know some people are going to be there, so it might be a chance to say hello to a couple of people. So we'll see how we go. But like I say, I'm down in Sidmouth, going to Exmouth on Monday. Then I'm down in Sidmouth. So I would like to try and keep my lateral flow test clean for that, if you don't mind. So cheers, me dears. So I'm a little bit let's have one last look through here, and then I'm pretty sure that the missing piece of aileron is in the kitchen on the draining board. In fact, I'm sure that if I went charging into the kitchen and had a quick look, do you know what I'm going to do, folks? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I am just quickly going to unbutton myself on the microphone. I'm going to quickly dash into the kitchen, and I'm going to go and get... Oh, that's cold. I'm quickly going to go and get my missing aileron off the draining board. So we will be back in literally a couple of seconds. So this is all very good live, isn't it? So we'll be back in a short while, so bear with us for a moment. Nope, not in there. So it's going to be around here somewhere, and it's going to have dropped off on the floor somewhere. It's just really annoying when a piece of kit goes missing. Oops, daisy. There goes the microphone. Let's just have one last quick reconnoiter around the work surface here. You can guarantee that the moment I go off the air and I have a quick look here, it will suddenly just appear out of nowhere, and I'll have egg on my face. So no, it's not. It's in here somewhere. Yeah, I knew it was there somewhere. So let's just clean this one up with the doodah again. Oops, daisy, glued it to my finger. So let's just let's flip over to this again. It's the beauty about things being live is, there's all these kind of like slick videos out there, and they're all very professional, and it all makes it look like everything's really kind of like beautifully easy, and everything goes swimmingly. And then I do my live shows, and I'm missing bits of kits and stuff and whatnot. But we will get around to doing some very slick pre-recorded videos at some stage. I am working on them, but this is the beauty of these lives, is that you also get to see the kinds of goofs and foul ups that all modelers go through at some stage. We all experience these things, and that's the nature of live broadcasting for you. Anyway, that'll do. We'll give that a proper clean up at a later date, but let's just get that horrible residue off. Right. So there we go. There's that there. We'll just give the inner surface a quick clean up with the sanding stick. And then we'll have a look to see how does that fit together. And actually that fits together quite nicely, but we will get rid of that sprue tag there. And we'll get rid of that one there. That'll do. And then we'll just slosh some of this Tamiya extra extra thick, slow setting, whatever you want to call it. Slosh some of that in there. Like I say, you can brush this in until you actually feel it starting to kind of drag across the surface, which is good because that means you've melted the mating surfaces enough. And this is why it's kind of like it's always a bit of a misnomer to describe. This is described as Tamiya cement, or this is described as quick setting. Tamiya extra thin cement quick setting. Strictly speaking, they're not glues; they're solvents. They work by melting the plastic and chemically bonding it, as opposed to glues, which by and large work by securing parts through surface adhesion. But white PVA glue does not kind of like melt cardboard. It just sinks into it, whereas these, the whole purpose of modeling glues is that they do melt the plastic, which is why sometimes beginners do fall foul of them, because they just apply too much of it, and then they wonder why their why their nose cones and things are all a bit soft and wobbly. But there we go. That's done now. That's that aileron done. So that'll be it for tonight, folks. We'll answer some more of your questions, and I'm going to get on with do a little bit more modelling before doing my next live webcast. We'll go here. So we'll just play catch up on a couple more comments, and then that'll be it for tonight. So scrolls down. Here we go. Jim says there, absolutely. Jim says the breakthrough with liquid glue is that it literally welds the plastic together for a strong bond. Yep, absolutely. The moment I started using liquid cement as a kid, honestly, my relative to my skills, and they were still a bit, but relative to my skills back then, my modelling improved 200%. It was a noticeable sea change in how my technique and my finishing and everything just went up a notch because I was using liquid cement. John Patrick Houston says he picks up coffee stirrers whenever I can. Not saying he should, but I think we all do. Can I say that? No, they're up in the gallery. They're going, don't say what you're going to say. So I'm like, right, okay, but yeah, you're all thinking what I'm thinking. Poundland pegs stuck to lolly sticks, or Poundland bamboo barbecue sticks. That's a good one, Mike. Hang about. Gets up. Oops. There we go. Poundland barbecue skewers. Sorry, that was Stanroy, the barbecue skewers. These are brilliant. They're like giant. I mean, it's like Land of the Giants here. We've got huge kind of like toothpicks. Then we've got tiny clothes pegs. So yeah, those are brilliant. Those are absolutely brilliant. Bill Clark says, I bought a 1 litre bottle of Mech a year or so ago for £10, so I decant that into a Tamiya bottle. Yeah, I don't like messing around with chemicals, but I understand some people do. Simon Lewis says, you can still get Revue Contactor Special. Okay, I'm going to look out for that. Carlos, brilliant. He says, I also use those miniature clothes pegs. I reverse some of them to make the back hold small pieces. I'll try and send a picture of it if you're interested. Yes, please, Carlos. I'd love to see a picture of that. Go onto our Facebook page or on our Twitter feed. I think our Twitter feed is @intmodco. But yeah, pop onto our Facebook or Twitter feeds and post that picture, because that'll be interesting. And we are the interesting modelling company. Just having a look. Brian Wheaton says he's away to get his cake fix. Actually, Brian, I've got to say, I had a nice slice of lemon sponge today in Shirley's Cafe in Severn Beach. It was very nice. Play some Rush. Don't make me get the guitar out. It's going to happen at some stage. I'll have Drew and Spencer on this show, and I'll suddenly get the guitar out, and they won't talk to me again. Dave Russ says, what is your next live webcast, JM, if you don't mind me asking? Well, we're scheduled to be doing the Sunday service this Sunday at 19:30 hours. This one tends to be the fill-in when Spence and Drew are otherwise engaged. But I'll try and do some pop-ups as well, and I'll try and also, like I say, I'm trying to do some filming here and do some nice short. Trying to do some nice short videos. We're talking about this with the. I talked to Spence and Drew about this over the weekend, and obviously with regard to the fact that, you know, without wishing to kind of like blow our own trumpets, we are content creators. Is that I'm suddenly went a bit Father Ted there with his Cleric of the Year. Is that you know, we all said the same thing. Is we're going to try and do some videos, but we're going to keep them really short and punchy, and literally, you know, pre-recorded videos, and keep them to literally about 4 or 5 minutes. Just try and get everything you need to say in a 4 or 5 minute video. If what you're trying to do, you can't do it in a 4 or 5 minute video, then you just do a follow-up video to it, but just keep them all nice and short and punchy. Obviously, you know, we're doing this tonight, and this has rambled on now for nearly an hour and a half. But this is a completely different format. This is not the same as doing a live. It's not the same rather as doing a pre-recorded video. So yeah, we're looking at doing. You know, I think we're all looking at doing our own separate things, but I am looking at trying to kind of like just get this kind of like 4-minute video down it. Literally like a you know, like a 45 RPM single of a video, just short and sweet. Anyway, and Noel says Spencer is too busy in his garden shed bar. Yeah, just look nice that. Simon Lewis says, JM, what is your go-to for clear parts? My go-to for clear parts, I'm just having a look here, is it tends to be PVA glue, but I do have up here somewhere. I've got a number of things that I use, including some clear adhesive. I can't see where it is at the moment, but it was like I think it's up there somewhere. It was, here we go. Oh, ouch. This stuff, I got this from the works. Clear PVA glue. This doesn't have any of the milkiness to it. Obviously, you can't use this for, you know, you can't sand it, but for actually getting clear parts on, you can put it on, then you can kind of wick it off, and, you know, with a moist cotton bud and everything. But this is actually clear PVA glue, £1.50 from the works. That is very, very good stuff. And obviously, if you do get some of it on the clear parts, you can clean it off. There are occasions when I do use super glue, if it's on a clear part which is going to be not load bearing, but it's going to need to be a little bit more reinforced. And there are occasions where I will use liquid cement, but they are very rare occasions, and you have to be very, very circumspect in using it. Otherwise, you know, new clear parts. And Jim says he uses a product called alligator glue made for modelers. Oh, okay. Let me just look. Alligator glue. Let me just look that up. Alligator glue modelers. I heard of gator glue. Gator grip acrylic hobby. Okay, gator grip. That looks interesting. Okay, we are going to we're going to go and investigate that. That looks fun. But yeah, PVA glue. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, and Ray, this is a good one from Ray, actually. He says PVA glue is good for photo etch in flat on flat situations. I mentioned that to somebody years ago, and they looked at me as if I'd just kind of like, you know, handed them a sandwich made out of, you know, kind of like dead rats or something. I was just like, no, you can use PVA on, you know, on a flat thing. Yeah, and people are like using super glue and they're wondering why they're not getting on with photo etch. But no, in a situation like that, PVA does the trick. Anything like that, anything like some of the kind of like the sticky craft glues, water-based sticky craft glues, anything like that for photo etch bits and pieces. Yeah, do it. It works. Yeah, Gator Grip. All talking about Gator Grip. Yeah, Mike Williams, deluxe materials, glue and glaze is fantastic for clear parts. I've got some of that here, Mike, and I can't see where it is because, as you can see, I've got an awful lot of stuff here which I buy it once, I use it, and then I forget where it is. So anyway, look, folks, that's going to be it for tonight. I have bored you enough as it is. We are going to be getting on with this Airfix Spitfire. We're also getting on with that Italy Ford Escort as well, but I just need to get some bits and pieces done on this Spitfire. And to be honest with you, it's got to the stage now where it's probably going to be about half an hour of kind of sitting down and looking at some bits and pieces, and then you're suddenly getting to the stage where you start pointing the airbrush at innards and things. So this would have, 50 years ago, this was phenomenal for the amount of detail that it offered you as a kit. I think these days the 48 scale Airfix kits, the 48 scale Edward and the Tamiya ones completely eclipse it in terms of the comprehensiveness of what they give you. But comparative to the time, this was absolutely phenomenal. It was a real kind of game changer of a kit. And part of me can still see this. I can still see the kit that my dad bought me back in 1973. So, there's a little bit of rose-tinted nostalgia, but I still think this is capable of being turned into a really kind of like a really wow model. So that's why I'm going to stick to the plan of building it straight from the box, but I'm going to let the painting and the weathering tell the story for me, if you see what I mean. Anyway, look, that's it for tonight, folks. I'm sorry this has gone on a bit too long and we've lost bits and the usual stuff. But anyway, we will be back on Sunday with the Sunday service. We've got some exciting stuff to talk about. I'm still trying to kind of like line up a date with Andy Klein to do a hookup with him. So we're still kind of working it out because Andy's very, very busy, obviously, with the hobby shop and everything, with the hobby headquarters. But we are working on that, and hopefully we'll get Mike Reeves on again at some stage, and we'll carry on as we are. I mean, goodness me, where are we now? 3rd of August. I hate to say it, I hate to whisper it to you, but autumn's on its way, folks. Oh, dearie me. Anyway, on that note, everybody out there, try and stay out of trouble. Look after yourselves and stay safe. And we'll see you at the weekend. So until then, bye for now.